All right, we're gonna change the fuel pump. Fortunately, on the Ford Escape, the fuel pump is conveniently located under an access panel in the rear seat. We simply grab the rear seat on the driver's side, flip it forward, there we go, like so, and up. Oops, get that light off. All right, we flip the seat forward like that, and we get inside. This little flap here is a pre-cut out access panel. We're going to flip backwards like this. And if we look here, we can see that there are 4 screws that hold this access panel in place. We're going to take those 4 screws out and reveal the top of the fuel tank and the fuel pump. So we lift up the lid, and now we can easily access the top of the fuel tank. We have this main wiring harness here, which is for the fuel pump. And then we have, probably have to take this harness here off to get this out of the way so we can lift the pump assembly out. And we have 2 fuel line connectors here, which require picking up the parts.
And we're back.
5mm. You ready?
Yeah.
All right. There's 6 5mm screws, which we take out, and then the lid comes off of the canister, and you can see the fuel pump here. We've already installed the new one. The used one is here. I think it's the number 2314 Airtex, and the only difference is you can see the wiring connectors on it are different, but it comes with an adapter wiring harness here to fit over those 2 terminals and connect to the original connector. So we installed the new pickup screen that came with the pump. There's the old one, and we just set it right down into place here like so. After we cleaned it thoroughly, and now we're going to take the top cap, and it's pretty easy to line up because the top cap has like one spot that goes over right there and a cutout here it goes on, so it's pretty easy to figure out where it goes. You just press it down into place while holding this kind of straight up and down, and you put the 3 main screws that hold the cap on here in next. Cut.
And the one that we were looking at that would have taken a couple days to get in were between $400 and $500. It was for all of this, and you could just get the pump on a lot of these. You get them online. The price seemed to range somewhere between like 30 to 40 used, 50, 60 for new. But a lot of stores just didn't have the pump in stock. We actually went to one place around here. It's a big chain, and we ordered it yesterday, but they accidentally sent the wrong one. And yeah, if you don't know what you're doing, these things can cost a lot of money. You can get that pump for 40, 50 bucks, and if you know what you're doing, you could save hundreds of dollars.
If we had more time, we could have ordered this replacement generic pump here online for as little as $15.
Right.
But David needs his car. He can't wait 3 or 4 days to get his pump, so we paid what, about $85 for it with a discount at AutoZone?
About that, yeah.
All right, we got that on. Now we need to put this cap here on, which goes over the 2. It goes over the pickup point here.
Right.
Pickup point here, and directs the fuel outward through that one.
And you also notice it goes the right way because there's some screw holes that
are offset on an angle, and they can only go one way.
Yes.
All right, now we got one more part here that has to be bolted down, and that was, which other part had to be bolted down, Dave? Was it this thing here? Yeah, it was this. This check valve here needs to be bolted down like so. It's just a little groove here that sets into. You press that into place, and there's a hook here that lines everything up, and the last screw goes in there. Alright, we've got the new wiring harness adapter clipped into place, and the positive side is the side here with the tan wire with the black stripe, which is changed over to a red wire on the out here. So we just look at the top of the new pump, and this side here is clearly labeled plus, and this is minus. So we're going to take the red one and we're going to clip it right onto there, and then the black one will go right onto there. And look at that, the
ta-da!
The fuel pump assembly has been rebuilt and is ready to reinstall. And this is a really weird one because a lot of times these come like a hard solid framework with like some brackets and that to hold the whole thing together. This one's just a floppy 2-piece unit.
Yeah.
Set this down in place, and then you put this in over the top of it, along with a new, oh, that's not it, hang on.
Yeah.
There it is.
A new ring.
We bought a new gasket, and that trim ring that we took, or the retainer ring, was just so rusted it bent when we tried to take it out. So it was $14 for a new retainer ring and giant O-ring. Even though the O-ring came with this, we got two of them now. But we need to get the retainer ring because we just butchered the old one getting it out, and this was a good thing we got this. So we're gonna go ahead and bolt this back together now in the car and hook the lines back up, hook this back up.
Here we see Darryl with a old paintbrush, and he's getting ready to prime the tank, as the instructions say.
Prime the tank?
Prime that. And we're filming.
I just set the new O-ring into place. It doesn't fit as tight as the old one did. So I guess it's going to be good enough. The old one was actually pressed into place over the course of, how old is it?
12 years.
12
yeah.
years. So I guess it's the reason why it's stuck into place. We're just going to set that in place, like in the groove. Now we're going to lower the pump. Alright, we're going to hold everything else here back. We're going to drop the float in first. The float goes toward the front of the vehicle. And then we're going to push this other bracket here aside. And we're going to drop this right on in so that it lines up with the cutout for that pickup filter. I don't remember where that was actually, but I'm sure I'll figure it out when I try and turn it and put it in place. There we go. Well, that doesn't feel right at all. That feels wrong. Something feels definitely wrong.
And if it wasn't in right.
All kinds of things. It wouldn't pick up right, the fuel gauge wouldn't work. Alright, the fuel gauge is moving freely. I can reach my hand on it, I can move the fuel float up and down freely. I had to hold it down because it had air inside and inside the pump, and it wanted to keep floating upwards when I took my hand off it. But now it's down all the way. It feels like it's firmly locked in place, and everything looks good. So now we're going to take this and we're going to line this up just like it was, like that, wasn't it?
Sure was. Now we take this
Mm-hmm.
and
It goes flat side down.
it does.
We're gonna push this back like this. Drop it in place. And there's actual cutouts here where the,
Oh, okay.
like right there. The whole thing has to push down quite a bit though to get those cutouts to go into place. There we go. We're going to push down on it and we're going to twist it clockwise so that this metal tab here goes underneath that lip. So we've got to push down hard. Twist the whole thing a little bit to the right. We've got it just started so the little lips are underneath the locking ring here. And now we're just going to give it a couple little taps with the hammer and make sure they all turn to lock into place snugly. You can see it actually turning until there's a little safety tab there that tells you the max you can go is when that safety tab hits the arm there. And there it is. Maybe one more. There it is.
Good.
The little dimples there is hitting against that locking tab, and they're in all the way around. None of them are sticking up.
Now, in later models, this part right here wouldn't be a metal ring. It was a plastic one that came up, kind of like the screw-on lid for a large jar. And you could still use your tools to take this off. And well, from one person to another, if you're doing this, I hope that's the one you have, because this was a pain to deal with.
It was. There's also some cars, I think GM in particular, that use a snap ring, a very large snap ring that you have to have snap ring pliers to take it off with. And those usually rust off, and you end up breaking those with a pair of pliers to get them off too. Most important part is to get it all clean before you put it back together so you don't have a lot of debris that could cause your giant O-ring to leak. You don't want to get a lot of debris down in the tank because it's not great, but you do have the double filter system down there to catch the debris so it doesn't get into the pump and ruin the pump. Then there's also another fuel filter in line to protect the engine from any debris that gets in there. So really there's like 3 filters on your fuel before it ever gets to your engine.
Triple filtered, just like the cool, refreshing taste of Coors Light.
Right, now we're going to reinstall the, I think that's the vapor recovery system plug here, if I'm not mistaken. Snap that until it clicks.
Yeah.
And we've got the main fuel pump connector plug here. We will snap that until it clicks. And now we just have the two main fuel lines, which I tucked one of them, I tucked under here.
And the other one is going.
You do it. You pull it out like this, so it's almost out. Slide it over into place, like that, and then push that down. There you go.
And then the other one
Way
is
back down here somewhere.
yeah.
It was in the way, and I moved it. And I don't know where it is.
I see it.
There it comes.
There you go. Yeah. How did you do that? That was impressive.
I just what?
You just like you picked that up with 2 fingers backwards.
There we go. Push that on. Snap the connector down, and that is done.
That is a beautiful shot we got right now.
And now we're going to tuck this down like that, and we're going to put the trim panel back down over the whole thing.
And then it's got 4 screws, as you see.
We reinstall the 4 Phillips screws and set the seat back down, and we're done. All right, we're going to turn the key on just to prime the pump and make sure we can hear the pump running. Go ahead and turn the key on. Yep, I felt it. I felt it kick on.
That's good.
Turn it off again, and then on again. That should build the pressure up in the system, so it should start right away, or at least fairly quick. All right, you can go ahead and start it. And as you can see from the screen here, the fuel pressure is dead solid right at 40 psi.
And as you will also see from my tears of joy, I am quite happy.
I can't actually see you. I'm recording my screen right now.
Oh, can they hear us?
They can hear you, I think.
Oh, that's good.